We didn't go nowhere, right, Stan?
Yep.
We're on the One Night Show, people. Check in, share where you're from. Let us know your development. Let us know your borough, your city, your town, and even your country if you're looking at us from out of the U.S.
Oh, you know what? Take those headphones off, guys. Whenever you're ready.
We live now.
Yeah, we live.
All right.
I see it.
Did you like the notification?
I didn't get my notification, but I see it.
Okay, cool.
Algorithm,
I see it now.
Yeah, I see it on our page.
Yeah.
All right, One Night Show. Check in, y'all. Let us know where you're from. We want to hear from you. We hope everybody had a fabulous Thanksgiving, a safe one.
Yep.
With family and friends, loved ones, and all of that jazz. And welcome back to the One Night Show podcast. As she stands.
That's me always.
We gotta always do it.
Always me. Always me. Always. I had it muted. I'm gonna leave this phone alone. I'll share later.
Okay.
All right.
So we're gonna talk about our weeks.
Yep.
You know, we went off a little bit. We had a nice show, and you know, we want everybody to definitely click and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is One Nycha, ONE, Nycha, NYCHA. TV it's on YouTube. So just find us on YouTube. It's easy to find. You'll see the logo, and let's get those subscribers up, okay, people? You know, we're there too. So the show is uploaded on there a little later, but we want to build that up because we're about to do a lot of stuff, right, Stan?
Yep.
One Night is not just a podcast. We are going into doing more organizing efforts under the umbrella. You know, we got the flyers to pass out. Stan will show you all that
yes.
probably when it's his turn to talk. So let me go on to my week. The Homes Isaac Coalition, we was busy over the last few weeks and, you know, going towards Thanksgiving, you know, working with the Isaac Center to help identify residents that can use a turkey. Mm-hmm. And the turkey would come from our council member, which is Julie Menon of City Council Member District 5. And so that was good. You know, we got a lot of residents identified.
Okay.
And then we, the coalition, Homes Isaac Coalition, we secured 25 turkeys of our own to give out to residents. So that's a good thing.
Yes,
right?
yes. Great thing.
Yeah, so that's a good thing. And we got that done. And I'll say thank you. I won't say the person's name, but it is an annual donor. So we've done this for a few years now.
Okay.
So when they give us about 25 turkeys, so they come and drop it off, and we identify, we make our little list, and that's that. My bracelets are giving me a little background. I started a bi-weekly virtual worship and Bible study with a family. In time, I will open it up to more people, but you know, just working out the things, but that's going well. As you know, Stan, I'm in the knee brace.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Cane.
Yeah.
I have my MRI this week. I think possibly, you know, I had some issues with my knees, but I believe when I had my surgery on my hand, last time I was here, I had my hand bandaged up.
Yeah, I remember.
And that's healing up pretty good. I believe in recovery, you know, when they move you, you sleep.
Right.
I believe they did something because my knee was not doing what it's doing. It was popping.
Wow.
It was doing some weird things that it never done. And it's like the pain is more in the back of the knee. So I can't even bend it back.
Wow.
You know, like to stand up normal like I would want to. But it's okay. You know, I'm still pressing through and staying busy.
Absolutely, yep.
We are now working on the Homes Isaac Coalition with the Isaac Center, partnering with them, identifying residents for Christmas meals. And also for Thanksgiving, people got their turkeys and also meals delivered to their door. We identify residents in the 5 buildings of those 2 developments, Isaac Houses and Homes Towers. So that's the same deal for Christmas. So on Christmas Day, they will receive, you know, once they're identified, and we send the list in, you know, with all the information, and then they will come and bring the food to their door. And then there's some people, if they want to pick up, they can pick up too, but the deliveries is nice, you know, for them to do that. The Homes Isaacs Coalition, we're having our monthly meeting. You're welcome to come stand if you
Okay,
want.
I like to check
So
that
on
out.
Wednesday at 7 p.m.
This coming Wednesday?
Yeah, we're going to have a preservation trust discussion.
Oh, okay.
So we have our flyers ready. We're about to door them, put them in the buildings.
Okay.
You know, NYCHA don't want you to put nothing up. They don't give you no permission.
Right.
Especially with that, they don't want us,
Right.
to get it out.
Right, right.
We getting it out through some, texting, emailing. We're going to put them on the doors, and hopefully we'll get them a good amount of people to talk to them, and so they learn about it.
Right.
And know to vote no.
Absolutely.
Because
That's
if
right.
they vote yes, and it's really appealing to them to want to get their apartments
Right.
repaired.
Right.
And I get that, and that's what we want. Everybody wants their apartments repaired.
Right.
But not this way. Not
Right.
with this privatization. that they're
100%.
doing.
That's right.
Lastly, today, my neighbor knocked on my door, and I was getting dressed. I had to put on my robe, and I'm like, because nobody comes to my house without calling, texting,
Right.
or whatever like
Sure,
that.
sure.
I don't have that policy. So I'm like, why is somebody knocking on my door? I'm not expecting nobody to open the door. She says, it's your neighbor. And I open the door. She said, we trapped. We can't get off the terrace. I'm like, what? So I went out. I'm in my little short blue robe.
Right.
And it's cold, but,
Right.
and I'm trying to mess with the door. And she's saying, be careful with your hand. Be careful with your hand. And I was like, wow. So good thing that I am connected in the community. I called one of my neighbors because I have a lot of people in my phone. And I called her, and she came out, a senior.
Right.
Came out, and she was able to jiggle it and open it from the outside. So I had to
Wow.
put a ticket in. Horrible.
Wow.
But that's my, pretty much what went on between today and,
Right.
through Thanksgiving. So
Right.
on to you, Stan the man.
Well, my Thanksgiving was great. I spent Thanksgiving in Queensbridge
Okay.
with Sugar Ray and Miles and Nisi, giving out vegan food, and it's
Nice.
always good to be in Queensbridge.
Nice.
I haven't been in there as much since my days with Justice for All has come to an end, but just to be in Queensbridge handing out the vegan food was wonderful. So I know we're gonna plan to do some more of that, coming into the winter. Also, some of the updates. Julie Wan voted for the Innovation Queens project. So I know a lot of folks in Queens are not happy with that. It's a development project that doesn't really have enough affordability. I know she fought
Wow.
for some affordability. I think she has 45% of it that she's calling affordable. But when you look at the fact that residents who live in NYCHA, will not be able to move into that building, it's not affordable for them. So once again, it's a project being brought into our community, but the folks in our community can't really afford it. So that's not good. So for Julie Wong, that's not, we expected something different, when she won, so, we're a little bit upset about that.
We have to assess these elected officials.
Yeah, we got to call them out
And we
because
have to get them unseated when they're not doing
Right.
what they need to do for the people.
because I remember when I'm calling you out, Julie. I know she came to a lot of Justice for All meetings before she ran, or when she was running, but then you get in there and you do something totally different, So we're a little upset about that. I know they had a big rally at City Hall. Some of the organizations like CAB was out there fighting, to fight against this, So once again, our elected officials have sold us out, with these development plans. And on to that status quo thing on the plan, it's really incredible that you spoke about that. They're trying to ram down our throats. There's 3 options they're going to give us, our NYCHA residents. One, you could vote for the Rad Pat.
Right.
You could vote for the Preservation Trust, or they call status quo, which means keep everything the same. But that's a very misleading term, because somebody would say
disrespectful.
right. Status quo means I'm gonna stay here with my apartment not being fixed. So when you look at how they're coming at this whole thing, it's really a shame. Really a shame. Then I think they only want or saying that only 10% of the people have to vote.
That's
So 10% of the people in a development and all the developments, that means you really
You
not
get a
trying.
yes or no.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's amazing.
Right. It's incredible. So you're really not trying to have any engagement. And then the fact that, there's NYCHA residents being bombarded, with all this propaganda, and it's the challenge on us now. Organizations like One NYCHA and the many others that are out there, to really get out there at this moment and be proactive, to get the word out.
Gotta be present, yeah.
Right, because this vote is going to go down. Then the other question becomes, what happens to the other NYCHA developments or units that are not in the RAD Pack or Preservation Trust?
Not chosen.
Right, so there's 80,000 more apartments that'll be left in limbo. So this is not a solution. This is really nonsense, and who can trust a vote from NYCHA. You know, they got some sort of third party entity that's gonna actually monitor the vote. And we saw what happened with the third party entity with the arsenic in the water. You know, so why would we trust any of that?
You can't even trust the election.
Right, you can't. It's just nonsense. So this is our time, folks who are watching. Next year is going to be a big year to really come out, let your voices be heard. You know, because they're really ramming this down people's throats.
And it could be online voting too, right?
Right, they have some online voting and some in person. There's various ways to vote.
Yeah.
It's confusing. You know, it's just we can't even get them to run a proper resident council election,
right?
And yet something of this magnitude, you're gonna do it in this manner, which is really insane.
And you know what's so funny? I know this is your time, but like being that they are putting a third party in charge,
right?
But they won't give us that reassurance when we have our resident council elections out for our, you know what I mean? So you're doing it for this, right?
Right.
But you won't do it for, so when they read off the people that voted by phone or whatever, email or whatever like that, those digital or whatever you want to call it, votes. You don't know if that's accurate. You don't know if that's real. You don't know if they got bots.
Right.
Right? You can have bots. Like, they have bots that play on. I used to play a game called Crime Inc. I don't know if anybody knows about that. And it was a fun game. I played it for many years, dropped a lot of money on that game. Mm-hmm. But people had bots. So bots, if they put bots in games and bots on social media to get likes and all this stuff, come on. Who's to say what they're going to do?
Right. I mean, it's insane. So got some great news to share. As those you may know, I sit on the board of Just Fix. Just Fix has been very instrumental in my organizing work, with the letters of complaint, which actually have gotten people's apartments fixed, when we send those letters. So now, Sandrea Coleman, we just got announced on Wednesday. She's going to be joining the board of Just Fix. So I think that's going to create a real strong partnership between One NYCHA and Just Fix. And they was very excited about your nomination. It was unanimous. Okay. And awesome. I think you're going to be a great addition to the team. With Just Fix. Really being somebody who's deeply impacted. As a NYCHA resident and NYCHA leader. Which is something that organization needs, So I think the combination of Just Fix and One NYCHA is going to be very powerful, and we're going to be out in the community now, really helping folks out, getting these repairs done for people, and go on. So I'll give you a moment to say how you feel about being on the board.
I'm elated, I'm busy. Right. I'm busier than most, but I did ask questions before I took on, because I don't believe in taking on any type of roles that I know I can't really fulfill. And, I was concerned with the meetings, board meetings, how many, and they broke that down. And so that was one of my concerns, and that was not a problem. It fits, it fits my schedule into the new year. And I'm looking forward to, bringing the tools to Just Fix to residents, throughout the city as well as the country. Right.
That's right.
So yeah, I'm elated, and tell them thank you, and I'm looking forward to this new chapter. More work. But more help for the people. Right. It does strengthen the work that we do.
Absolutely.
It solidifies it, and it gives people, because if they go online to it, like I know you did well over 100 letters of complaints. When you was with the other organization, you still do it.
Right.
And but the people, you can either do it for them or they could do it themselves.
Right.
So that's one thing I like about it. And their website, people should really go to their website, because it's a lot of information there. You could, if you have a private landlord, there's tools to find out about your private landlord. Like, everything is simplified there. Like, when you go on a site, sometimes to maneuver a site, it can be difficult. But their site, when you go on there, it's like a one-stop shop. Like, whatever you need to do, whatever you want to know, the information is there, and it's simplified for people, and it's easy to access. So shout out to Just Fix.
Yes. I'm definitely excited about that work. And I guess on the national level, I don't want to get into the whole Kanye thing, but I know there was a meeting with Trump and Kanye, I guess, and Nick Fuentes, a white supremacist, so it just shows, I guess, how it's comic almost. It's almost hilarious, that this is how our national politics is playing out. That this gentleman can even have the opportunity to run again under massive investigations. We don't even know if he's going to end up in jail or not.
Exactly.
But he's going to be running.
And his kids.
And his kids. And then you sitting down with a rapper and a white supremacist. So I don't know where we're going as a country. It's just startling and it's just shocking to me. It's just shocking.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but for me, all I say is I'm praying for Ye. I'm praying for Kyrie. I put it out publicly because I'm not, I fear God, not man.
Right.
And we all are imperfect people, and I'm not a sympathizer or nothing like that, but we all have done things, we all have said things, we just don't have that platform.
Right,
So I put on my page yesterday because a lot of people are calling him crazy, Ye. And I believe, and I'm not a doctor, but the people that are calling him crazy is not a doctor neither.
Right.
So I'm not, and the doctor's not going to say you crazy. They're going to give you a diagnosis. And for me, I believe from his accident, I believe he has a TBI, which is a traumatic brain injury.
Right.
And no, it's not an excuse for his behavior, but then again, it could be an excuse. And then when you think about when the world is on you, you know what I'm saying? Like he has the weight of the world. He has still some people that are really supporting him still, like rocking with him. And that's a good thing. But all I do is I hope he just, make it through this and, get things together. Because, he really hit from the marriage to,
there's a lot went on in his life.
There's a lot going on.
Lost the mom died.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
a lot happening with him.
But it's like everybody's like kicking him. And it's like, okay, you could kick him, but I'm not kicking him. You know what I'm saying? All I'm saying is I'm praying for him. And I'm getting backlash from praying for a guy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because we don't get that same energy when Caucasian people do things. We don't get that same energy.
Right.
We don't see their money, go away. And he's humbled, and I believe he knows the Lord. Just like if you listen to DMX knew the Lord. Pac, I believe Pac, knew the Lord. Quite a bit of rappers have some kind of spirituality. And he's like Kyrie searching for truth. Kanye's searching for truth or knows some things, and he's also exposing some things. So, at the end of the day, I'm not gonna, go against him in that manner. And I know he said a lot of things that hurt all types of people, from, not just us, others, and people of different faith.
Yeah.
And I understand that. And, I'm not saying I condone that. You know what I'm saying? So there's a difference from saying I'm praying for somebody. You understand what I'm saying? Like, so, okay, this is what I'm a minister. This is what we're supposed to do.
You should be prayed for. He needs prayer at this point in time.
Exactly. So instead of all of the beating up on him, because he's getting a lot, so he's going to continue to lash out. To be honest,
right?
Because long as people keep pushing him, how about just stand still, stand back? Because then he's getting all the media attention.
Right.
Still,
right.
You want to cancel him, but you're still talking about him. He's still in the paper. So you're not canceling him.
Right.
Now they're going to get rid of all his music.
Right.
I seen something with the music. They want to get rid of all, I don't know how we got on this, but you brought it up. They want to get rid of all his music that he done solo.
Right.
They also, get that catalog so you can't access it.
Wow. I didn't know that part.
And that's his artistry.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But they're trying to break his bank. They also brought up that he was doing some things at the workplace.
I heard that. Yeah, I heard that.
Then I also seen something online that Kim, she's sporting Adidas, and it's as if she's working with Adidas to, tear him down. I mean, I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. But, all I will say is if he knows the Lord, he's going to be all right.
Right.
And that's what I'll say. And can I have a hand clap on that?
Yeah, all right.
Because I'm by all means, I just can't. I didn't jump on when people were on the bandwagon with Cuomo.
Right.
You remember that? And everybody was, elected officials, resign, calling for his resignation. I stayed silent because till you get the evidence, till there's proof. And then what happened with the investigation? Unfounded.
They said, some things were not.
They couldn't, you know what I'm saying? They couldn't do anything with it. So it's like, what did we really do here? You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't me, though, because I was quiet.
Right.
But I noticed, people are afraid to say, so like I put my posts and some people click like and some people are shy off. That's my platform.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Freedom of speech, right?
Yeah. So, that's my platform. And that's the thing. We don't really have freedom of speech.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's hate speech for some things, and then some things that are still hateful is not hate speech.
Okay. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So if we're going to say everything, if we're going to label stuff as hate speech, then we got to go across the board. We can't pick and choose what is hate speech.
Well, that's a valid point. That's
what is
very valid.
painful.
Right.
What is harmful.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, so he's on paper, maybe he's not a billionaire, but, it's not like he can't build himself back up.
Right.
And he said he wanted to get rid of the thing with
the contract. I think he said
thank you. You know what I'm saying? So,
Well,
and he's supposed to get some money too still from it. So,
right.
Hey, contracts always have a loophole in it. You just got to get a good lawyer to see it.
Right.
There's always something there. But I'm glad you brought it up and we was able to talk about it. And let's see if there's anything in the chat.
Yeah, well, we got Caillou Borden in the chat showing some love. He says, "Happy Sunday, family." He also says, "Hope you're feeling well, sis."
Okay.
That's good. Shout out to Caillou.
There's an engineer here. I guess just to say who he is since he's talking.
Yeah. This is DJ Chinks. I'm here
Okay.
for one night. We holding it down and we getting through it. We gonna
Absolutely.
let y'all know what's going on out here in these streets.
Absolutely. Anything else in the chat?
Oh, that's it for right now.
Okay.
Well, definitely want to point this out on the front page of the Daily News today.
What is that?
Our mayor. I know you and I.
Oh, yeah, that we got a topic.
Right. So I know you and
We
I,
got
you
a
put in the
topic,
call.
yeah.
So he's now going to be having cops and EMT and first responders, going to pick up folks who are mentally ill and put them in
Take
hospitals and forcibly do that.
Involuntarily.
So, I know you called and it definitely upset you.
We talked about it.
Right, and it upset me too, because it's, how do you do that? I mean, first of all, you're putting the people, the first responders,
How do you do
themselves in trouble.
How do you do it?
Well,
When you want to violate somebody's civil rights,
right,
that's how you do it.
Well, exactly.
You do it illegally.
Right,
That's illegal.
Right. I think
Because
okay.
a cop, an EMS worker, a social worker is not a psychiatrist.
Absolutely not.
What if you have somebody in your house that didn't take their meds and happen to go outside and appear to be homeless or unhoused?
Right.
I want to be correct with my terminology because I don't want to offend anybody.
Right.
What if your family member just didn't take their meds, have an episode?
Yeah.
They get taken away. Do you know when people get taken away how hard it is to get them out?
Yeah. Right. And
Once
you
they
don't even know
start
where
putting them
right.
meds in them, and
Right.
you don't know where they at.
Right. Right.
I mean, this is criminal. I call it kidnapping, body snatching. Like,
Right.
this is crazy. Where is elected officials at? ACLU, people are calling it out.
Right.
But when you have a narcissist as a mayor that feel he can do what he want to do, because this is not going to make our streets safer. This is not going to make our subways safer. I felt unsafe on the 6 train, and I put it on Twitter. The cop was standing there with his hand resting on his gun. I have my picture. And he's looked like he's on his phone watching something. But his hand is resting on his gun. And I looked up, I clutched my bag. I felt unsafe.
With the presence of the cop.
Yes.
Right. Wow. That's a different twist on the narrative.
But go ahead.
Yeah, so it's an outrage, and at the same time, he's cutting funding for mental health. So how do you do that? How do you cut funding for mental health, and then you come out with a policy such as this? Which now you look at his overall policies. From my take, he's definitely not the mayor that I think a lot of people thought they were going to get. I know a lot of folks in NYCHA voted for him. I know a lot of people of color voted for him.
Was it a real choice though? I didn't want him, but I'm saying.
Yeah. It was tough. I mean, I
Maya. It was a few.
Right.
That, yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't many, but I guess we got to think about the next time around. I'm sure he's going to run again. And, we need to know for those who are in the NYCHA fight, he's definitely sold us out. He's definitely down with the Preservation Trust, RAD, all of that. Then you see policies like this, then you see him with the cutting of education. I know Kim came on the show and talked about that. So you start looking at
video clip of her too, yeah.
Accumulation of things. He's extremely moderate. Moving more towards, to my mind, on the conservative side. When you start doing stuff like this. So very disappointing.
Also, since we were on the tip of the mayor talking about him, also with police officers inside the subways, they're receiving 4 hours. I believe it's like 4 hours overtime for being in the subway. So that cop that I seen, and he had an MTA kind of like jacket on too. So maybe they're giving him like,
Some sort of transit cop? Is it?
I I don't know, but
Right.
he was there, and it's in the papers. They're getting 4 hours overtime. Now, I will say Pat Lynch, their union rep, did not want that forced overtime, or it might be voluntary. Let me be clear, because I come from that agency, so I'm not sure how it is. But when it comes to overtime, they'll hop on it.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Because that's padding them for when there's time for retirement, all that money, that extra money. They love overtime. So
Right.
4 hours after your shift. Hey, so they do an 8-hour tour, so they wind up doing 12 hours. If people really don't know, 12-hour tours is not hard for police officers to do.
Right.
That's kind of normal when something happens anyway.
Mm-hmm.
When we had 9/11, they were on 12-hour tours.
Right,
You know what I'm
right,
saying? So,
right.
and it's, that 4 hours of overtime is built in.
Right.
And let's not talk about travel time. I was a payroll supervisor.
Right.
So it's a whole lot of money that's thrown around. But Hochul also signed off on this.
Right, I know.
So our
Yep.
governor.
Yeah.
So that's kind of funny.
And then they don't
what I'm
even
saying?
know where. So after you pick the person up and you do all this,
Okay, so now we back to the unhoused. Okay, because I was talking about the transit, the cops.
the cops, right,
inside,
I'm
overtime,
moving
right, so
back
now
to
we're
this.
going
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Okay.
And they don't know like where they're gonna place them. Like this, like he didn't really think this out.
50
like,
beds.
50 beds, and you're gonna. I mean, can you imagine if you in a emergency room and somebody's in there against their will? So they angry and upset.
Right.
You have doctors and such who are not trained to deal with this either. So nobody's prepared for this at all.
Right.
And now that person could be stuck for like days. They may not be able to get a bed. All kind of chaos.
And
It's
also,
like, go ahead.
Also, it's gonna actually give them a meltdown.
Right.
If they're going in
Right.
involuntary.
Right.
It's gonna make
You're
them
gonna be
go
mad.
crazy.
Right.
Yeah, who doesn't? Like,
Right.
when you see people, no, I didn't do nothing, and trying to stop resisting, but they're saying they didn't do nothing and just go down, and they don't really want to go down, but
Right.
their body can't. Your body, there's a mechanism that it's not gonna allow nobody to take you down.
Right.
You're gonna try not
Naturally
to go down
fight
because you're
back.
not an actor. Not
Right.
really fighting, but you don't want to go down.
Right,
You know, they
exactly.
try to bring you
Exactly,
down.
exactly.
And that's stop resistance. So we're gonna turn some of these involuntary kidnapping. That's what I'm gonna call it. These kidnappings. They're gonna probably turn into police.
Yeah,
like
somebody's going to get
records.
hurt.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to get hurt. We're going to see it, and sad to say, and especially cops, anybody, someone's going to get hurt. It could be a cop that gets hurt. It could be anybody.
It could be a family member
be,
that's upset that you
Right.
took their, you know what I'm saying? Like, this wasn't thought out. This,
Not at all.
This is just inhumane to do. But I'm going to say, I don't know if you've seen this, and this is in the news too, so you all can Google this. San Francisco has a dog. San Francisco PD has a dog, a robot.
Yeah, I think I heard about this.
A lethal robot that can actually kill people.
Yeah,
But
I
it
heard
can
that.
only be used with supervision. So they are going to, now we seen when they bombed the guy in Dallas, Texas,
Right.
for the sniper, which was still unjust to do, to send a robot in and blow him up. That's criminal.
Right.
But we can go back to it was the 80s in Philadelphia, or whatever,
move,
the
right.
move
Yeah,
bombing.
the bomb, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, because it's like, this country do what they want to do.
Right.
Like, how can you sign off to become the judge, jury, and executioner? You're gonna kill people,
Right.
regardless. I mean, what they do. But come on now. You're allowing people. They're already shooting us.
Right. Right.
People of color. So this really turned into like a social justice.
Right.
One
But
night to the day.
it's all
but it's
systemic
cool.
racism.
Yeah.
And we all dealing with various issues.
But this is appalling because
Right.
if it's happening there, big state, California,
Right.
San Francisco,
Right.
we had the dog, right? That
Right.
we had
Right.
people. We went off and people, and they got rid of that dog.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm
right.
saying? I think that dog was like 75 to 95,000 a piece.
Right,
That
right.
robotic dog.
Right.
Come on. But they wasn't doing all of that. This thing is lethal. It can
Right.
kill somebody. It can
Right.
blow, this robot can blow some. I guess the robot is done too when it happens, but come on.
Right.
Come on. Y'all are turning into like terrorists.
Right. We're going in a wrong direction. And it's all this fighting crime. I guess that's the whole thing, the whole narrative.
But is crime that bad?
Right.
That, you're going to send
Right.
a robot in to blow
Right.
somebody, to kill somebody
Right.
without them their due process?
Right. Right.
Right?
Right.
To get arrested,
Right.
go through, the booking, go through the arraignment, go
Right.
through the process of, getting a date
Right.
or pleading out. You're
Right.
not even giving them that option.
Right.
You're just taking their life. I have a problem with that.
Yeah, and when we talk about crime, back in the 80s, crime was worse. So this big narrative of crime. For those who remember, that's the crack era. Back in the 80s, that was when, you had gangs and this all type of madness, So we're nowhere near the level of crime that we've seen before. But this is a narrative that they're pushing so they could come out with policies like this, where you have robots or taking people off the train who are mentally ill or whatever, all for the sake of crime, to stop crime, when it really is not at the level that it used to be.
Yeah.
There's no comparison. So, it's just part of this narrative. But another thing I want to switch, Chris Banks is running.
And cameras are on trains too now. I believe,
Oh, I didn't know that. Really?
I believe she did something local for cameras, but we could double check. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but go ahead.
Yeah, so Chris Banks was on our show. For those who didn't see our last show, which got a lot of viewership, which I'm glad to see that, very, very well circulated. He broke down what's really going down with the Rat Pack buildings in Linden and Boulevard, and he described a horrifying scenario, many scenarios the residents are going through. So as we approach this vote, if you haven't seen that show, you should probably go back and look at that show where you hear firsthand accounts of how folks are living, going through the conversion now, and the disruption of their lives and everything else. So Chris is running against Charles Barron, so that's city council, and we're gonna support. I support him. He did a wonderful job on the show, and I think he'd be a powerful voice in city council, against this Rat Pack stuff. And the Preservation Trust, and we don't seem to have. I mean, when you look at our city council, who's on there that's really speaking out, against this. There seems to be just a tremendous amount of silence, or they're going on the plan.
We got to weed that out. We have to really find out. Even with Assembly, we need to see who's for us and who's against us, so we know.
They maybe call it out,
right?
Like start calling them names out.
Learn how to vote,
right?
And maybe build up a candidate to run against these people.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, if you're not working for us, NYCHA makes up this city. We are. I was a former municipality worker. I worked, like I said, with NYPD. I used to supervise payroll, and I've had close to 25 years. I'm out now medically, but. With that said, like, we run this city. We make this city tick. NYCHA residents.
Absolutely.
They're working for city council and in government and in the court system. They are your correction officers, your police officers. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, might be a fireman or two, but when I say correction, city and state.
Right.
There's a whole lot of municipality workers in public housing, so we are a city, as I always say, a city in the city, a city within a city, and we have to look for people that seems to have our best interest. But even if they're talking that talk, we have to look back to see if they walk the walk.
Right, exactly, because the talk is, I'm down with Chris Banks, and I know Charles Barron's been around for a while, and former Black Panther, and was in that fight, so to speak, but when things are happening in your community and you're sitting in these seats, and all these things are happening, the developments get privatized, and on your watch, then you got to be called into question, because that should not be happening.
Right.
And if it is happening, your voice should be, if you're against it, the loudest, against it, and I'm just not hearing anyone's voice. I don't know. I can't point to a single elected official that I know of that's out here fighting for NYCHA strongly, and coming out directly. I don't know one.
And you know what I believe? I believe they knock on our doors, send us mailers, but I don't believe they respect us.
Right.
But they want our vote.
Right. That's all they want.
There's a narrative that we don't vote, but we do vote.
Right.
I would say possibly my assembly district, which is 68th Assembly District. Our 5 buildings supposed to be the best voting block out of NYCHA developments. So they come to us. They come out. We see their faces, but then we don't see them no more.
You don't see them no. You don't.
And
really
then
don't.
That's what we know.
Right.
And it's good to have people that got their boots on the ground, like myself and others, that is into politics and
Right.
we can actually show this, because you can't come around. You come to get the signatures.
Right.
We had people forging signatures on people on my floor
Mm.
because I showed it to residents. I had got a copy, and this lady was like, 2 people were like, "That's not my signature." So they're forging our
Wow.
signatures. Yeah, I'm gonna say that,
Right,
forging
right.
NYCHA residents' signatures to get on the ballot.
Right.
That happened. That happened last year because I ran and I seen it, and I was able to compare it to my signatures.
Right.
Which we were running for different races, and then I knocked on their doors, and 2 Hispanic ladies said, one was a senior, one was not. That's not my signature.
I know you may not want to call her name. I'm not gonna put you on the spot.
I ain't gonna call the person
I'm not
out,
gonna put
but
you on the spot.
anyway.
Right.
All I'm gonna say is they already elected official. They was running for a different office, and shame on them.
Yeah, but that's the way they do us. So if you're watching the show, coming into these new elections for city council and all the rest of that, we're gonna need and should have NYCHA residents running, because who can represent the issue better than someone living in the issue, and actually can speak to it with passion. These elected officials do only for the photo ops and all the rest of that, and that's if they even speak passing at those moments. Most time they just show up, drop off a turkey or whatever they do, get a picture, and then they gone. And I've seen that happen. I'm not gonna call names out today on this show, but I was in community in Queensbridge, and one of these elected officials came by, and I was speaking with Nisi and Sugar Ray and them, and they were like, the individuals was there for no more than 5 minutes, took a picture, and just was gone, And I seen that also at an event that we did. A representative came. I'm not gonna beat the person up that much. I already mentioned it somewhat, but they come and then they just gone.
Wow.
And they're not, and you don't see them no more. You really don't see them, And when you call their offices, a lot of times you deal with the constituent services. You're not getting the support. You're really not.
And that's bad.
That's
you
terrible.
don't have to get elected. I mean, I have some of their numbers direct. I can dial direct.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But that's if they need, you gotta have a good constituent services.
Right.
So, because you don't always. I remember I reached out to Mark Levine for something, and he didn't respond back, but he had somebody from his office call me direct.
Right.
So in turn, I worked with that person.
Right.
And they were proactive, and this was a situation. That's the Manhattan Borough president. So with that said, long as you put us in touch and we got people that we can access,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? But if you don't have a good constituent services, that means you messed up at the top.
Right.
Because that's your votership.
Absolutely.
But let me look in the chat real quick. Kim says, "Happy Sunday, family." Kim, how you doing? Hope you feeling better, sis. What else? She says, "Borough president is on New York One talking about he is not totally for this." Okay, is that
which one?
Is that the Manhattan Borough president, Kim? Kim says, "I got a position in NYCHA Emergency Management. LIC started November 28th. Congratulations, Kim." She said a few other things, and I guess we got to get him out, or we are doomed. I believe she's talking about the mayor, Maria. Maria is watching. Good evening, Maria. And Kim says we have to chat because I found out inside of NYCHA and got the org chart. Okay. She's saying some things. Okay, Kim, so get in touch with us. Stan me, you got our numbers. So, all right, but just wanted to touch base with them. Let them know we see them, and Kim is a NYCHA now. Go ahead.
Well, she's on the inside. They may not know what they're gonna get, but I know.
Hey, they got Kim.
Right, Kim. Like
they gonna bring
Kim.
your rent up, girl.
Yeah,
they gonna bring your rent up now.
Right,
a little more.
Right.
Yeah.
But we gotta fight, folks, because it's really it's terrible. And back to the issue of residents wanting the repairs done. I have a friend this in Boulevard Houses, and then we had a discussion about everything. And yes, people do want their repairs done. So and it's difficult to argue against that. But what people do need to know, and which has been proven, is that those repairs are not really good. 6 months down the road, you're gonna find the mold coming back. You're gonna find the lead still there. You're gonna find,
the botch
is horrible. So don't be fooled, by how the pictures look. Well, your apartment's gonna look like this. And she showed me a picture. This is what it's gonna look like. But then let's look back 6 months down the road, and let's see what it looks like at that moment. And we already have the evidence. It's not like we don't have it. You know, there's developments we've been in touch with. I've spoken to residents. I know you have as well. You know, that are in converted buildings. They can't get in touch with management at all. So same issues. There's a lot of confusion between is NYCHA accountable or is this new management accountable? You know, so a lot of people falling through the cracks.
Yeah.
You know, can't get nobody to do anything.
And that's
you know,
bad, right?
That's bad. So you know, don't be fooled into thinking that it's going to be this narrative that they're telling you that's going to work seamlessly like that.
Right.
You know, it's totally different from the reality.
And what I want to add to that is a new Red Pack conversion. If you have some issues, NYCHA is still responsible for your apartment.
Right.
But once that turns over, it appears that it's the new management. But if there's issues and if they're not answering, the new people, you got to go back to NYCHA. See, NYCHA act like they cut the cord.
Right.
Right?
But
that's what they act like they cut the cord.
Right.
They're so fraudulent. When I called to put my ticket in today, the recording, this is fraud. Oh, the lines are busy. It's so much. The waiting is long. You know, it's long. It's a recording and saying, you know, you'll be trying to deter you to hang up and try to do it on the app or just call back later.
Right.
You know, so many calls or however they worded it. And then when I stayed on, it says your call will be answered 2 to 3 minutes.
Wow.
Why do you have a recording? I'm going to tape it next time.
Yeah, you should do that because it's
why would you have a
discouraging.
recording to tell people you're not going to get, you know, you're not going to get a person, you know, call volume. Call volume is high.
Right.
You know, so most people go, oh, I ain't got time because I don't want to wait 10 minutes or 20 minutes.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, but we trapped, you know.
And you stuck, right? So it's an emergency.
I need to speak to someone. I held 2 to 3 minutes.
Wow.
Now, if I would have been an impatient person, didn't have that issue.
Right.
You see
That's
what I'm
a
saying?
shame.
That's fraud.
Right. That's a shame.
Fraud.
And
I'm gonna record it next time.
You should do that.
I'm gonna call just to call.
Right.
And not really need nobody. But I'm gonna call.
Right.
And get that recording and record it because that's fraud.
Yeah, it is. And if you're in an emergency situation such as that, you know, I mean, what about call volume? You need help right now.
But think about the people that jumped off.
Right. Well, they're telling you they don't want to deal with you.
Exactly.
They don't care about your repairs.
Exactly.
The lack of repairs, it's like a distraction, you know, as they come with this Red Pack stuff. What they really need to be doing is fixing these apartments.
Yeah.
You know, so all this privatization and all the rest of that is not getting at the core issue. You know, and the core issue is that we need to get the fully funded from the federal government. We shouldn't give up city, state, and federal. Right. We shouldn't give up on that fight. We shouldn't take the attitude that, well, no money's coming.
Right.
You know, so we just gotta accept whatever we gotta accept. And, you know, which is what they want us, which is what they're pushing.
And you know what I have a problem with? We do get funding from some of those entities between the city, state, and federal government. Yes, we do, but some of the funding, the way it's stretched.
Right.
So say we might get $2.5 billion, but they stretch it out over 10 years or 5 years.
Right.
That's not helpful.
Right.
Give us the money now.
Right.
Fund NYCHA now.
Right.
That's been my whole thing. When, like I'll tell it again, 2015 when we was fighting infill, the acts to preserve all of public housing was $2 billion.
Right.
That was the number. We're at 40 plus billion now.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
In a matter of 7 years. Come on. What does that tell you?
Right.
But you got to expect that.
Right.
You know?
Right.
If you have an issue and you don't take care of that issue, it's going to deteriorate.
Right.
More and more and more.
Right.
And that's what's happening.
Right. If down the road, we probably be at 60, 70 billion if something's not done soon.
Another thing about the call line too. Sorry, Cassandra.
No.
When you call, if you have for apartment repair, it says they only take those calls like for certain repairs, as long as it's not emergency, Monday through Friday.
So what? So if you have something happening on the weekend,
if it's not emergency, deemed emergency, but you might be busy at work. Some people can't make calls at their job,
right?
So they only take, and it's like certain hours, Monday through.
Right.
It's crazy.
And then what do you deem an emergency? I know I was with a NYCHA resident in Ravenswood, and they told this lady who had confirmed lead in her apartment that's not an emergency. And she had a 4-year, like a little kid. Mm-hmm. They can have lead poisoning, and she can have lead poisoning. Mm-hmm. But I heard the person tell her that's not an emergency. You know, so what rises to a level?
Basically saying you
Right.
got it, so
Right,
deal with
you-
it till we remediate it.
Right,
basically.
right. And we was able to get that resident. It got put out, but she's still calling. I spoke to her. She still wants to sue. You know, because she's like, well, how long has this lead been in here? Did you get it all out? You know, and she has questions about that. She's not trusting of any of it, and I can't blame her. I really can't blame her. You know, so even though the work got done technically, she's not satisfied. She's
So
not
they
happy.
did the lead.
They remediated, but they first they found that she said the lead was in one part of the apartment. They did the test and they said it was in another part at first. Then they came back and said, no, it is in the part where you said. You know, so she's like, well, how is that? You know, so you did a testing and you found it in two different locations. You know, so how do I know that you got it all out?
Did the kid test positive?
The kid didn't test positive, thank God.
Did the parent get tested?
Matter of fact, I got to ask that question. I don't want to say yes or no.
I urge any parent that anybody that lives in public housing and your apartment tested positive for lead, adult and child, you should be tested.
Right.
Because if you do the research for adults with lead poisoning and headaches, there's so many little complications that people probably are going through and don't even realize it's due to lead poisoning.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and it has
exposure,
devastating effects.
Yeah.
You know, devastating. And
especially with the kids,
Right.
Their developmental,
And many, if not, I mean, the large majority of these apartments have it. You know, or some lead or asbestos or what have you.
yeah.
You know, so when you really think about all this renovation, all the rest of that, they're not really getting to the root cause and getting to those issues. You know, then you're really putting like a Band-Aid, you know, on a big gaping wound. You know, that's gonna come off soon. You know, and so this is not the solution.
Right.
This is not the answer at all.
Well, they did tile replacement in my building, and they did them in Homes Towers. But I assumed, and you know, when you assume, I was wrong. I thought that they put the black tiles in Homes on top. But when they did my building, I seen they were taking up the tiles, so they
Wow.
was exposing us to asbestos.
Right.
Period.
Right.
Now shift a little bit. In Lakeisha's building, one of Holmes Towers buildings, they we have a lot of scaffolding up because there's I believe there's a $2 million or $4 million, $4 million project. Either two, I think it might be $4 million. Is a project to renovate the roofs.
Right,
You know,
right,
to help
right.
with the leaks and the water and stuff like that. The other day, there was a lot of rain. Whatever day that was, I think it was Thursday.
Right.
It was a lot of rain, and nothing was happening. It wasn't a problem. In the evening, the rain is coming down the staircase, and it's flushing into the people on the 25th floor. It's coming into some people's apartment. One apartment, it was coming through the ladies' walls and stuff.
Wow.
Nobody came out. We called our city council people. Cameron, Julie Mendez, our city council, he reached out to Cameron, Lakeisha, and you know, he said he was sending people over there. The next day, there was the vac didn't come up when it should come up. You know,
Right.
to help with take up the water or go into somebody's apartment, and nobody really was coming around. I think the assistant manager did come to one person's apartment, but even in the day that it's, you know, Friday morning,
Right.
y'all should be up there,
Right.
seeing about the people.
Absolutely.
You know, and then it's like no who to call. They
Right.
didn't know who to call.
Right.
You know, and I was sharing with Lakeisha because we was on the phone. I said that's just like last year when we had the issue when part of our building was unlit.
Right.
You know, and then because of the FEMA money we received and we're getting generators, Con Ed that came, they couldn't even do nothing without power.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying? And
Right.
the people in Clay, they didn't get the call to 4:30. We was going through that since 11 in the morning.
Wow.
And I stayed out, in and out, and I spoke to them when they came out at 10:30.
Right.
They said they didn't get notified till 4:30. So I don't know. It's like you have these contractors, the residents can't access them. Maybe the resident council president might have because
Right.
they deal with them. They may have a number, but come on, like this is crazy.
Yeah, right. And that whole contractor thing, a lot of these contractors are not qualified.
Yeah.
They come in here, a lot of times they don't speak English, and so the person can't really communicate
With
to
you.
them, you know, about what's going
Properly.
on. And it's just horrible. I mean, that happened in that case with the resident. There was like one contractor was on the case at one point. Then another contractor got put on it. It's like, it's just very unorganized. It's ridiculous. And that's part of the criminality of NYCHA, that you can't really get qualified people to do this
Practice of the city. They always go with the lowest bid.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Which is probably the most unqualified too. So
you want to save money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's just like when you shop. When you want to buy a good pair of shoes, you gonna spend the money, get a good pair of shoes, or you gonna spend the money and get something inexpensive.
Right.
And 9 times out of 10, maybe buying that one that costs a little more money. And I'm not talking about red bottoms and stuff like that. I'm talking about just a good quality shoe. Right. Compared to just something that's $10, $20.
Right.
You spend that money, that shoe will probably last you.
Right.
Compared. So, and this is what NYCHA does.
Right.
That's what the city does. That's just their MO.
Right.
Their method of operation. Let's save money.
When it comes to us, right? When it comes to dealing with, like the city as a whole, but when the NYCHA issue, when it comes to black and brown people, let's call it what it is. It's systemic racism, at its core, and it has to be called out. And this is a national issue, so it's not just here in New York. And we brought on people on our show from Chicago.
Yeah.
We're going to have some more guests from other parts of the country.
Right.
Because this is not just a New York City issue. It's a national issue.
We're in this together.
Right. And if we was to get a national fight, then I still think we could win. Even though all this is happening, even with Unpack and the Preservation Trust, there's still going to be 80,000 units of still NYCHA.
Right.
So we still going to be here. And we gotta fight. We can't give in. We can't really give up another apartment. Right. This has to stop now, and we gotta figure out a way to stop this.
I will say that I believe we have a ally in Assembly, Alex Boris, that was on. Although he doesn't have any NYCHA developments in his district, but we have that communication.
Right.
And he understands, he listens. I serve on the community board with his mother. She's cool in the gang. But, we have to just look at our allies that are elected officials, hold them accountable, and try to speak to them to, get their colleagues on board. Because what's going on with NYCHA and not just NYCHA, is a homeless crisis, right?
Right.
We have people that are unhoused. We have thousands of apartments that are vacant.
Right.
That can have the people. I mean, these are tax breaks, but come on, put people in these apartments.
Right.
So everybody doesn't. People don't want to be in shelters, and even some of the people that might have some instabilities in their mental state.
Right.
They don't. They know better. They have enough common sense to not want to be inside a shelter. If a person feels safer sleeping on the street, and the sidewalk, and the subway, that's telling you something.
Right.
That's telling you that these shelters are dangerous.
Right.
That's telling you that maybe the way they were treated.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So we have to take a bigger look. But it's just crazy. Like, back to this mayor, you can cut education, but you can make sure the police department is fully loaded and funded.
Right.
Fully loaded and funded.
Right.
I mean, and now the chief of department, I believe, resigned, and they're moving up. I guess the guy Jeffrey that was part of the community affairs, black guy, but then he has a wishy-washy record from way back. Some things that went on, and it's in the paper, and the lady sued, some sexual harassment, some things. Some things he was doing that wasn't so great. So he has a very kind of tarnished record.
Pass, right.
And you moving this man up to be third, literally like third in rank.
Right.
Chief of department.
Very questionable. He had another hire. I forgot. There was another questionable hire recently. A young lady that didn't really have experience. I think was making like $55,000 or something. Now she's gonna be making, I think, like $150,000 without really having the experience.
What agency?
I can't recall now. I'll come back on the show next week and I'll give y'all the information since I put it out here. Yeah. But it becomes just questionable. Very questionable these practices. And things are not necessarily getting better in the city. And in my opinion, they're getting worse.
Yeah.
And and he's not doing the job that many people who voted for him thought he was going to do.
GTD, get things done. Yeah,
Right.
get things done. Stop taking all those pictures.
Right.
Taking all those photo ops. Come on, it's like, come on. You got to see you sitting there like, what are you, modeling? Like, come on.
Right.
These photo ops are like, no, do some work.
Right.
What are you doing?
Right. And have
What
a
are you
clear
doing?
policy.
But what are you doing?
Right.
What's going on at Jacob Reese? Was it Reese houses? What's the name of the houses in down Lower East Side that's having the water issue?
It was Jacob East, yeah.
Okay, all right, I got it right because I was thinking about the Jacob
Right,
Reese
right,
Center
right,
at Queensbridge. Okay,
right.
Yeah, like how are they doing? Like, come on, what are y'all doing for them?
And that just disappeared, right? That story was here and now it's gone.
It's still going, but it's not as
Right.
in the forefront.
Right.
And what's crazy now is we have been conditioned because of this water crisis. I told people in 2019, you might have been at that presser, I said we are the new Flint.
Right.
And I wasn't necessarily referring to water. I was referring to government.
Right.
How they're treating us. And I notice now we are conditioned not to even drink our water.
Wow.
I don't even drink.
That's crazy.
I don't even drink tap water in my house no more.
Right.
So that's an extra added expense.
Right.
So you see our elevators and our people with their carts when water's on sale, they stocking up.
Wow.
Like I buy water, I call one of the seniors. If I get three for $11.99, whatever, Poland Spring. All right, I got the cart ready. Come grab my cart. I got a case for you. I look out for people, but this is crazy.
No, it
We're
is.
not drinking the water no more.
Right.
And it's not like somebody said don't, but because if it's happening there,
Right.
gotta be happening.
And why wouldn't it be? And I remember back in my Just For days, there were people that came to the meeting with brown water.
Staten Island, was that people?
No,
from Staten Island?
this is right in Queensbridge.
Okay.
And it's like, that was a few years ago. And, so, yeah, it's got to be pervasive. It's got to be pervasive. And it's a shame to think that you can't drink the water in your apartment or feel comfortable bathing in your apartment or washing dishes in your apartment. That's a shame.
Yeah.
So it is like Flint now directly because it is the water.
Right.
And
it's the government.
Right.
And there's no accountability.
Right.
Nobody's never going to be at fault.
Right.
NYCHA.
And
It doesn't matter any elevators. It doesn't any kind of things that go wrong within public housing. Nobody's never held accountable.
Right. And getting back to that vote, the third party entity once again had the false test, whatever they say, it was lead, no, it was arsenic, no, it's not. That was a third party vendor. Same thing they're gonna do with this vote they're talking about. So, if we can't trust them to give us the proper information about arsenic in the water, we're gonna now trust them to hire a third party entity that no NYCHA resident knows anything about, and we're gonna trust they're gonna give an accurate vote and give us the truth. So it's just unbelievable. You can't make it up. It really cannot make up how crazy this whole thing is.
What we need is transparency so that when they do the water testing, as I said before on the show, I went and wanted to see the findings.
Right.
I could not take a picture. I could not read it out. How can I say it? I couldn't take a picture and I couldn't take notes.
Right.
This is what my manager, Ada George, said. So what I did was I read it out loud.
Right.
But I got the information.
Right.
I had to read it out loud. You get what I'm saying?
Right, exactly,
I had to be smarter than them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I had the record of what was there. And I'll never forget, I had a council member, Ben Kalos, and I shared that with him. And he was livid. And he was like, what? But so what they need to do, instead of trying to hide things and be transparent.
Right.
Send out the findings to us.
Right.
In the mail.
Right.
Or have them put on our door.
Right.
Let us know if our water's safe.
That's
Because you do
just-
test the tanks.
Right.
You test it.
Right.
You test it, I believe, it's annual.
Right.
Right? So give us the results. Let us know what's going on. Don't hide things because
Right.
we need to know.
Right.
We need
No,
to know.
you're right.
This is just, like you said, it's nothing but systemic racism. It's because it's black and brown people living in public housing, and people don't give a damn about us, unfortunately.
If you found this, if this was a private building in a affluent neighborhood, there's nowhere in the world this type of stuff would be happening.
And if it did, they'll be in jail.
They'd be in jail, right? There'd be some criminality, something would be happening.
You got to give up the building.
Right,
They'll
right,
be gone.
right.
They'll give
The
up
owner
the
would be in trouble.
Yeah.
It'd be all type of madness, But with NYCHA in the city, nothing happens. And I do want to mention, one of the things I would like to focus on is the unholy alliance, so to speak, between NYCHA and HPD. Because these are situations where HPD should be going in. If it wasn't a NYCHA building, a so-called city agency, which NYCHA really isn't, there'd be fines, there'd be liens, there'd be all type of stuff happening. They would come in there and do something. But here, for this case, they don't.
But there is no accountability, because when we sued NYCHA December 13th,
Right.
2019, we had DOB, we had HPD, we had inspections.
Right.
And the findings, because for Isaacs, they would come into my home.
Right.
I was getting a copy, and our attorneys was getting a copy, and there was findings.
Right.
But there still was nothing. You go to court, you go before the judge, and she just ordered them to do things, but they never held them in contempt.
Right.
Because at least if they would have been held in contempt, we could have had some more leverage than
Right.
just suing them.
Right.
Like Lakeisha she took them back to court herself.
Mm-hmm.
So people that were part of that big action with us, and I don't know how Queensbridge action is
Right.
going. Now people are going and doing individual HP actions again. That's how,
Right.
for those that don't know, HP actions are housing parts lawsuits that you could actually take NYCHA to court yourself. You don't need an attorney. You go in there with your complaint. You fill out the forms. It's easy. The clerks can help you if you have any questions, and you file, and then you get your date, and you show back up to court, and you're there before the judge, and you can do individual HP actions.
Right.
And what happened? Individual. I went out. Individual HP actions. Yeah.
And people need to know that, don't suffer in silence.
No.
If you have repair issues, reach out to us. Now, my fellow board member here with Just Fix, we can send our letter of complaint on your behalf and really hold NYCHA accountable to the best of our ability. That letter of complaint will also go to your elected official and the higher ups at NYCHA, and we've gotten people's work done, as a result, so please reach out to us, or is it one NYCHA TV@gmail.com. ONE, right.
TV@gmail.com. Yeah.
Or I'm going to put my number out there again,
Go ahead,
646-705-8887. Feel free to call because we want to help you. I don't care where you are in the city. It could be Brooklyn, Bronx, Staten Island, wherever.
And if you call Stan and you really want me, just tell Stan you want me.
Right. And that'll work.
DM me.
Right.
People slide up in my DMs all the time from
right.
Reporters and people that need help. So, and shout out, I forgot the lady's name, but a lady was watching our show the last time, and she had some issues, and her and I had a conversation, and literally the next day,
I think you told me about that.
Everything happened for her without us having to do anything, and she was just so grateful for the show.
Right.
It actually empowered her, and that's what we really want to do. Like this platform and the services that we're going to do through One NYCHA, not just a podcast, but on the ground, boots on the ground. We want to empower residents because, even with Stan saying, we can help you, do this letter of complaint, but also you can do it yourself. So we want to. The thing is, it's always best to teach people
how to fish. Yeah.
I spoke to a lady, and her name is Yolanda. I won't say her last name, and she lives in Holmes Towers. And I explained to her about, you help with, but it's before I got on the board.
Right.
About the Just Fix and the letter of complaints. And I directed her to, but I told her if she needed help, she could reach out to you.
Right.
Or, we could sit and do it. But she got it, I believe
she
she
did
got
she
it
on her
done.
own? Okay, good.
She got it done on her own.
Right.
She said, because she does letters and stuff. That
Okay.
Grant writing, all that stuff. You got to meet her anyway. So
Okay.
she's a powerful sister to live in NYCHA, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So don't suffer in silence. We're looking forward to getting out there next year. This year is wrapping up.
Yeah.
So next year is going to be I think when we really launch out with this community initiatives, you probably see some literature in their buildings about
flyer.
Just Fix and
We'll show a
flyers.
flyer.
There's a flyer here. Andrea has printed out some flyers. Let me show y'all this. You may see it in your NYCHA development soon. So this is how you can find out more about the show. We get in touch with us.
Hold up a little more.
and actually
that's good.
get involved with us, because at some point we're gonna need folks to volunteer with us, to knock on doors. We're gonna need folks maybe to volunteer to make phone calls.
You're right.
You know, we're gonna really step this up. You know, to really help this organizing effort.
Yeah.
You know, because you know we got 100 days coming up. They're gonna give us a 100-day period.
Yeah.
Of propaganda is what they're gonna do, and so. All the organizations, we got to fight now. This is our time to be on the ground.
And Greg Russ already came to my development.
Right,
so,
right.
You know, at one of our council meetings. So, and nobody knew he was coming.
Right.
He was there, and I pushed back and, you know, said what I needed to say and asked what I needed to ask. And then he went outside, and I had called Lakeisha. She had him in the hallway. She was sitting down talking to him.
Mm-hmm.
So, the council president got upset that claimed that she took him. She didn't take him from the meeting. If he want to talk to the lady,
Right.
that's, you know. And they was sitting in the chair. I snapped a picture of him, though. I got to give her that picture for a souvenir.
Yeah, Greg Russ. It's a shame.
Yeah,
The
messy.
czar of privatization. For those who may not follow, look him up.
Yeah.
You know, wherever he's gone, public housing's gone too. You know, so he's here to do a job. He got demoted, I guess. They cut part of his salary out, you know, after the arsenic stuff, you know, but he's still on the job with this privatization. You know, so we got to keep ourselves up in this fight.
Well, what's his salary now? Do you know?
He's still
got
well
cut.
over 6 figures. It's like 100.
No, of course.
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
I went down.
'Cause he was
over-
making more than the mayor.
Right, I
More
think it
than
sounds
that.
like $150 or something like that.
Yeah, well, we'll find out.
Right, we're gonna
Throw it in the
we
chat.
get back to you
Quote,
with the
unquote,
exact
give
with
it
the exact number of the next
But he
show.
still has the power, so that
Right,
you know.
right.
That's what it's about. But we about to shut down. Any final words?
Yeah, I
from
want to
you?
give a big shout out to the Boardwalk Global Media team. They delivered some turkeys on Thanksgiving to my friend Nate in the Bronx and veterans. You know, so they gave them like 20, 30 turkeys. So I want to thank Boardwalk Global Media for doing that. And I know they're having a toy drive. Big shout out to Rock. You know, is making this happen. What's the information here? All right, where are we at? I'm going to give you guys information. It's going to be in the Bronx. At 345 Brook Avenue, and this is gonna be on what date is that? I think the 14th, I believe. But I'll get back to you on the next show. But it's gonna be a toy drive under there giving out Boardwalk Global Media, Hip Hop Boulevard, you know, for the kids. You know, so they've done a lot, you know, in terms of giving out turkeys and things of that nature for the past holiday spirit. And I wish them the best in that, and I probably would like to be involved. There's gonna be a show, rappers and performances, and it's going to be a great event.
Yeah, hip hop is going into their 50th year next year, right?
Who's on
it?
it?
It's going to be 50 years next year. Is it next year?
Who?
Hip hop.
Oh, hip hop. Oh, wow.
Come on, give us some.
Yeah.
See, I know.
Wow,
I
okay.
know.
Wow.
Look,
50 years.
look. G-Dep's auntie knows.
Yeah.
G-Dep auntie knows.
And big shout out to Rock and all the team for, you know, being involved in all this hip hop stuff and keeping it alive, and you know, and all of that. And that's my last words.
Yeah. For me, once again, click like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, ONENYCHA TV. That's on YouTube. If you want to reach us, Stan gave his number. Say your number one more time, Stan.
646-705-8887.
So that's calling direct, you know. And you know, when you go to a doctor and you don't want to speak to the mail, he'll connect you with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But and then, you know, DM us. I man all of our social media platforms. So feel free to DM. I catch those DMs and I get back to you all. And if you want Stan, you know, I'll forward anything over. If you email, I'll forward it to Stan if it's directed to Stan, you know. So when you want someone, you know, if you want us, then it's us, and I always share. But if you want somebody specific, just say who you want to speak to. But we will have our boots on the ground. We will be hitting the boroughs in the new year. We're going to try to get to, like, do some visitation, you know, once a month together to assess things, to, you know, help people, because you know, it's one thing to suffer, but like, you know, Stan says, you can't suffer in silence. And let us, you know, lean on us. We're here for you. You know, Stan used to live in NYCHA.
Yep.
What is it?
Lafayette Gardens in Bed-Stuy.
Lafayette Gardens. I grew up in McKinley houses, moved out, was in Parkchester for a few years. And when NYCHA called me, I moved down to Holmes Towers, and now I'm in Isaac houses. So I'm not a lifelong resident, but just about. Wasn't born into NYCHA. But I'm here still, and, you know, we want to just help people, and that's what it's about. So, and we have the One Night Show, we have the Homeless Isaac Coalition, which I'm a part of, a co-founder.
Absolutely.
We do work. We always done work together, especially with Stan. When he was with the other organization, we ain't giving that.
Right, no light.
But so we're here for you. If you want to help with organizing, any kind of outreach, any phone banking, whatever it is you feel you can do, let us know and become part of the team, the organizing team, and the outreach team of One Night Show. So that's how we flow. One Night Show, one people.
One
We're
Night Show,
lifting
one
off.
people, yes.
Woo! Thank you.
All right.
Share.
Thanks a lot, DJ Chinks. Being
Got
an
it.
engineer. All right. Great show.